When I was director of music down at Latham, or one of my churches, we would do it every last Sunday of the month. The last Sunday of the month was Favorites Night. So. If you have your Bibles, turn to Proverbs 11. I'm going to read 24 through 27 this evening. Watering another's garden. Watering another's garden is tonight's sermon title. And as you know, it is not my sermon. Everybody's in the back. Yeah. Oh, I see Mrs. Goodell and Miriam in the back. I was going to say, this is not a true Baptist church because the back three pews are empty. If you're a Baptist, you're in the back row. Back row Baptist. So I just thought of that when I was taking the offering. I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's nobody here, nobody here, nobody here. Okay. Proverbs 11, 24 through 27. There is that scattereth, and yet increaseth. And there is that withholdeth more than its meat, but it tendereth the poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him. But blessing shall be upon the hand of him that selleth it. He that diligently seeketh good procureth favor. But he that seeketh mischief, it shall come unto him. As I told you this morning, and this was an idea that was given to me, this is a message that you heard on September 22nd, 2019. This is a message that Pastor Goodell gave to you guys. And Pastor Goodell does, and I know pastors that do two things when they write their sermons. I sort of go with an outline. I've seen pastors do it. There are some pastors who write it out, word for word. And that works for them too. And I mean, it is just so good. So, this is one of Pastor Goodell's. Hopefully I can inflect enough excitement in this. I've read through it about 4 or 5 times. So I call your attention to the statement. He that watereth shall be watered also unto himself. That is 11:25b. Most of us, if not careful, will be more concerned about what we can get from others than what we can give others. In his devotional book, Morning and Evening, Spurgeon commented, we are here taught the great lesson that to get, we must give. That to accumulate, we must scatter. That to make ourselves happy, we must make others happy. And that in order to become spiritually vigorous, we must seek the spiritual good in others. In watering others, we are ourselves watered. This is an appeal to be unselfish, so God can bless us more abundantly. In the Bible Knowledge Commentary, it was stated this way. In the verses 11:24 through 26, encouraging generosity by giving freely, a person has plenty, and a seeming paradox. Conversely, a person who is miserably failing to help others in obvious needs will himself always be in need. By being generous, a person prospers and is in turn helped. The main theme in giving is that giving is a seed sowing process that results in fruit similar to seed sown. Over the years, by faithful following this principle of giving, I have proved to myself that God honors faithful seed sowing. One of the metaphors used in these verses is the farmer and his grain. Grain in a farming society was a major medium of exchange. Hoarding it could drastically affect prices. But a person who sold his grain and did not hoard it was a blessing to others. In order to be a giver, one must go against stinginess in many areas. First, the flesh. The view held by most people, even some professional Christians, is that it is my money and I deserve the benefits, and I will spend it my way. Where did we hear that this morning? The old flesh is selfish. It wants to hoard and not to scatter. Second, the world. The world views is to make money, enjoy life. You only come this way once, so get all you can get out of it. The world supports the idea that what you earn is yours, and you are a fool if you give it to others. Third, the devil. The devil. He knows he has you in his power if he can get you to act selfishly. He tells you, yea, hath God said. Satan will feed you an endless supply of excuses for keeping your resources for you alone. What Satan does not tell you is that your hoarding helps him reach his goal, not yours. Fourth, the backslider. The backslider is already living for himself or herself. They feel justified if they can draw other believers unto their backslidden state. They try to convince you that God doesn't accept you, to give away your hard-earned money. To be a giver, you have to go against these four pressures. Okay. So as Pastor wrote, put down this outline on which brings our thoughts. Number one is desires. There's going to be some different things that I go through tonight. Desires. Many people let old flesh force its desires unto them. Few believers seek to exercise discipline over their desires. Rather, they simply give in to them. Proverbs 11:23 says, "The desires of the righteous is only good, but the expectations of the wicked is wrath." Both Hebrew words reveal something longed for, something hoped, something waited for. The writer speaks of two types of desires, one for the right and the other for the wrong. The world, the old refuse, the devil, and the backslidden Christians all want to shape our desires. Why? Because what we long for motivates our actions. God also wants to shape what we desire. The results of God's shaping are totally different from what the world, flesh, and the devil and backsliders produce. What a person desires sets the tone for his or her entire life. How do we control desires? How do we develop current desires? It requires an act of the will. We simply decide. So what is your desire? The answer? We decide what to delight in. This allows God to give us a different set of desires. We desire what we choose to delight in. Delight thyself in the word of the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart, which is Psalms 37:4. One who delights in him will have righteous desires. God can change our desires. We can control what we desire by an act of the will, whereby we decide to delight in our relationships with the Lord. Number two, the direction. Okay, number one was the desires. Number two is the direction. If a psychological agreement that people go after what they like. When a person likes something, that establishes his direction. Paul delighted in the Lord. That one may know him, and the powers of his resurrection. That's Philippians 3:10. People must decide to delight in the Lord, for it is not automatic. The old nature and everything into his world is set to distracting that. Your direction for your life will be determined by what you decide to delight in. Delight thyself in the Lord, which is Psalm 37:4. We choose to delight in the Lord because of who he is, not because of what he allowed us to bring into our lives.